who's going to introduce our guest speaker, Paul. And Paul, thanks so much for being here tonight with us. Over to you, Michael.
All right, thank you, Greta. Well, okay, so Paul Sanbar, when I met him originally, I instantly thought he has to speak at our chapter. So it was like before I even got through the initial conversation. So it wasn't, I don't know if he went through the hardcore vetting process, because I had seen his presentation and just the energy that he brings. Let me tell you a little bit about Paul. He's an ingenuity and executive coach. He's a certified coach supervisor. He's a workshop facilitator and a performance poet. Paul's life and career has been dedicated to the field of self-development and to affecting positive change through play, storytelling, and powerful conversations, initially as a psychotherapist and now as a professional certified coach. Coach Paul has been a board member of the Los Angeles chapter of the ICF for over 3 years. He also volunteers with ICF Global for the executive coaching community of practice and is currently completing his application for his MCC, as well as the EMCC Supervision Individual Accreditation. He's a certified he's certified in Lego Serious Play Methods, and he's a member of the MURAL Consultant Network. Paul supports his clients to think with their hands and put their imagination to work in both tactical and technological ways. And he will be speaking to us tonight, and let's give him a warm ICF Orange County welcome.
Thank you so very much, Michael. Thank you, Greta. My microphone just cut off for a moment. I don't know exactly. Hopefully this will stick with me. As I shared in the chat, I'm currently in Reno. I'm traveling and really enjoying my summer. So my setup is not my usual one, but I'm pretty sure it's going to stay connected. I'm really honored to be with all of you here this evening, this morning for some of you, late this evening for others. And I'm really excited to be here and share a little bit in ICF Orange County Technology Month. Last year was a really interesting year. Necessity is the mother of invention, as they say, and so many things last year we had to lean in. Something like this, this Brady Bunch that we're all looking at here today is something that we had to get used to. Some other things that we also had to get used to is other forms of technology, and one that I really leaned into quite a bit was digital whiteboards. As Michael said, my background, one of the things I do as a coach is through my passion for play, is as a certified Lego Serious Play facilitator. And as I jokingly like to say, last year, nobody wanted to play with my Legos. So I had to find out a different way to engage with hands-on thinking, to engage with visual thinking, because to me, this is a really powerful way and a powerful tool that, especially now that we do so much of our coaching virtually, whether it's on the phone or through Zoom, that we may miss out on at times because we're not in the room with our clients. We're not seeing them. We're not able to touch them or have them touch us emotionally, intrinsically, and of course, with our questions. And so by using technology, specifically digital whiteboards, I found that I can allow my clients to see what they're thinking about and even feel what they're thinking. So let's dive in. This presentation is actually going to be completely done on a MURAL whiteboard. So if you've never seen or engaged with a MURAL, you did get a link with your registration to see the actual MURAL. And if you joined in, great. If you didn't, no problem at all. We're going to do that right now. So I'm going to share my screen here. And like I said, this will be a presentation. Thumbs up if you're able to see the shared screen. Great. So what you see before you is a mural. Normally, it is a plain white or off-white or gray square, just like any whiteboard would be when we used to go into boardrooms, or hopefully we'll be doing that again soon if you haven't already started doing that. But generally, the whiteboard is a completely blank whiteboard. What I've done is I've added a bunch of things to it because we're going to engage with this whiteboard. So the first thing that I did that I shared is I had you check out this. This was a bit of our pre-work. If you did join in, let's see, let me zoom in here. I know a couple people joined in. Candy and Lori, thank you so much for following through and sharing your LinkedIn profile in here. You guys are all going to get this link and be able to engage in this mural in about 45 or so minutes. And so you're all going to be able to engage and do this and even double click on Candy or Lori's LinkedIn page, or even share your own to network later. And so what a mural whiteboard enables us to do if we're working individually or with a team or a group is to do some pre-work. And of course, we may sometimes call that asynchronous engagement, right? The synchronous work that we do with our clients is really important, that hour or 90-minute session that we have when we're asking those questions and holding the space. That's really important. But the asynchronous work, what they do when they leave the session, is sometimes even more important, especially for them. And so what Mural allows us to do is engage visually, synchronously, which you'll see in a moment, but also to have a space for your client to engage asynchronously after the session is over. So this is a live board that 1, 2, 1,000 people can engage at the same time. We're going to have hopefully about 23 of you engage in just a moment. And so, like I said, we're going to get started, and we're going to start with a bit of thinking. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. This Warren Bennis quote is a fantastic one. Obviously, a lot of us may know Warren Bennis to know that some of the things that he said, what he's done for the type of work that we do is so important for leadership, for management, and it really is important. So many of us, when we are asking a client a question, we ask them to picture what that desired state might look like, right? We ask them, to see what it is. And so when they are explaining it to us, they are creating that vision of what they are seeing. But wouldn't it be amazing if we were both able to see exactly what they were thinking and saying? And so visual thinking happens in every coaching session. But what a hands-on, collaborated and facilitated visual thinking session, whether it is an entire session or even just part of a brainstorm, which you'll see in a moment, really allows our clients to engage in new and different ways. So the first thing is I want you to engage. So I want you to just reflect for a moment. I encourage you to imagine as if we were making an infographic of our learning today, an artifact of our experience using our new age hieroglyphics. And I want you to think about this question, and I'm going to share how you're going to go about engaging this in a moment. And hopefully a few of you will be willing to lean in and come off of mute and engage with a little bit of facilitated visual thinking. The question is, if sometime from now, a high-tech geologist were to unearth this mural, what might it depict about who you are becoming as a coach when you are engaging your clients with yours or their fullest self? So just think about that for a moment, maybe even close your eyes, and maybe some images might appear. Of course, you can verbally tell me straight out But what I want you to do now is to consider that question and actually think with these charms that you see around this slide. So you see a Venn, you see kangaroo. I don't want to give them names because you can attach meaning to them all your own. And what I want you to do is find one of these charms that I am sharing here, one of these charms. And if any of you are willing to, of course, you can't take my logo, that's mine. But if any of you are willing to come off of mute and tell me which of these one, if you'd like to, but which of these one charms was speaking to you when you thought about who you are becoming when you're engaging your clients to your fullest self, when you're really leaning into your best self as a coach. Anybody willing? Feel free to just come off of mute. Yeah, let's go ahead and say your name and I will. Larry, wonderful. Go ahead and come off of mute. And
the elephant.
The elephant. Okay, so I'm putting you here. So imagine this square here. This square is essentially your emotional self. I can put this square, I can make this elephant really big, I can make it really small, I can put it up in the upper part, the lower part. Where do you want me to move this or enlarge this elephant?
Just fill that square.
Fill that square. Thank you, Larry. And one other question. Maybe there's a color that's coming up for you when you
Green.
Green. I'm not going to question that. I think that's great. I'm going to share this. Is that a good color, green, for you? I can go darker, lighter.
Perfect.
Perfect. So Larry, tell me a little bit about what you are seeing, what you created with that visual thinking.
I just see, I consider elephants to be these like kind of really wise, calm beings, which is the way I want to come across as a coach to folks, a coach and an advisor.
All right. Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you. Who else? We have time for two more. Definitely one more if anybody else wants to go. Just getting this started here. Let's go ahead and come off of mute and share your name.
Hey, this is Rob.
Rob, great. Go for it.
So is that the, I think it's the lightning bolt in the bottom left. I hope that's
lightning bolt.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Okay. So same couple questions. Rob, want to make it big, small? We can
make it big.
Make it big. All right. We're really stretching ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Really bringing ourselves to the hopefully you don't mind me adding to your visual thinking, but just to pause for just a moment. Changing the size of objects, it really brings out an intrinsic value to it, making it bigger or smaller. We know when we enter a room, they tell us to stand up and really allow ourselves to be our biggest self, so we can really present ourselves and show up in our fullest self. And doing this with our charms might have the same effect. Rob, what color? And keeping it the same color is totally fine as well.
Well, my last name is Greenlee, so I usually use green, but I think for this one, we're going to use purple.
Purple, okay.
The bottom right, no, the one that's underneath that one.
All right, I like
that
it.
one. Yes, thank you.
Hey, yeah. Now I got to ask. So, deeper purple. Tell me more about what was coming up for you as you created this vision for yourself.
Well, looking at the future self, it was like the wise wizard unleashing the energy of my clients into the world, and I thought about what is it, Mickey Mouse and that Fantasia.
Yeah.
So I think that's,
oh my gosh. So many images popped up for me right now, Rob. Thank you so much. And as you can imagine, we can continue with this metaphor and meaning making. And this is the power that happens when we visually think together. So I thank you, Rob. Time for one more. Yes, Victoria. Thank you. Go for it.
Okay, I would choose the, it's in the first row, or the
Sure.
first column, and
Uh-huh.
it's the puzzle piece.
Gotcha.
And I would
Okay.
use that, and I would make it big too.
Sure.
So probably in blue,
Blue. Okay. You guys are getting the hang of it here.
a nice
I like
blue,
it.
yes.
A
Ooh,
nice, is that a
perfect.
nice enough blue?
Whoa.
Oh. Great.
And the reason that I would use the puzzle piece
Mm-hmm.
is that I like to think of myself when I'm at my best coaching, of not putting the other person's picture together.
Hmm.
They do that, but helping them to think through what are all the possibilities.
Yeah.
And in one piece, the final piece, this is the final piece of the puzzle.
I like it.
And hopefully through insightful questions, I can challenge them to think of what will complete their picture in the very best way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Larry, Rob, Victoria. Thank you so much for engaging. Challenging. We're going to get into that in a moment when we do our facilitated visual thinking activity. All right. So let's move forward. Today, we started with our preflection. I'm going to share very briefly about what is Mural. I shared a bit already. I'm going to talk a bit more about why hands-on visual thinking. We're going to do a facilitated activity, and that is when you all are going to be able to engage, but I'm the only one, just like we did just now, I'm the only one that's manipulating the mural. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about things that I've already started to share about metaphor and meaning making, and we all know the power of metaphor, but why it really comes to life when our clients are able to actually see what they're thinking and feeling. Then we're going to engage with a demo that is going to go really in deep into a little bit of what you just shared. And I thank you, Petra, for agreeing to do that. And then you all are gonna have an opportunity to engage in this mural. Whether you mess it up, well, we're all gonna mess it up together is what I say. What Mural definitely, as I say, it does have a short but very steep learning curve. And so when we get to that point, I engage you just to try. I'm going to send you the link. There's really no way to screw it up. There is a back button. And when we get to that, I'll go through it again with you. So you're all going to have a chance to go through that and do a brief breakout to think a bit more about what you saw in our time today. So Mural, the company, and Mural, the board. There's competitors. Miro, Jamboard is the Google version. It's a very simplified version. Microsoft just came out with more collaboration tools. There are so many more. Lucid Spark, some of you may know them. There are so many collaboration tools out there because last year we had to really lean in to working from disparate places. And how do we do that and still feel connected? Well, one way is when we're all engaging in a whiteboard such as this. So let's dive in a little bit more. This is the very brief case for hands-on creative collaboration. We are all visual and multimodal creatures, right? We do our coaching work with the spoken word quite a bit, but if we're just working with that spoken word, we know we are not showing up with our fullest selves, and we're not engaging our clients with their fullest selves. So much of our work we do as coaches is to try to get them out of their head at time and maybe into their body, into their sense-making feeling space, right? Or maybe even understand a bit more about their touch and about that oldest part of our senses that allows us to smell and engage with our surroundings. And so when we're using our hands to engage, one, we are fully present because we are able to manipulate what we are seeing. And when we are doing that, we have powerful experiences that can go much beyond the verbal or textual description. Another thing is that collaboration is multiplication. a Peter Drucker quote that is such a great one. When we are working together, we are able to use each other and able to multiply our ability to work. But the truth is right now, it wouldn't be a chapter meeting or a webinar if I didn't use the acronym VUCA. The main one is that our world is very complex. So much of the work that we do with our clients has them dealing with a dilemma or a challenge that has so many different facets or different nodes of considerations that they may have to deal with, that it's sometimes really difficult to have them, keep them all in their mind. We only can keep about 4 to 7 things in our mind at the same time. But what if we're talking about a challenge or a dilemma that is on a spectrum, which most challenges are? It's rarely this or that. Oftentimes it's something in the middle or an understanding of what we may lose by choosing the right or what we may gain by choosing the left. And so when our clients are able to visually see what they're working on, they're able to offload some of the information like we do maybe when we're in person, and therefore they're able to create more space in their brain to think about different things. And so when we are engaging with hands-on thinking, specifically with a tool such as this, we're really able to engage them in so many different ways. And so our first group activity, as I said before, and that quote in that last slide, about 80% from a study showed about 80% of most things that happen in coaching deal with a dilemma or something that has a polarity, a choice, right? What you see before you is a decision matrix. And I don't know if any of you have seen this matrix or have worked with it before. There are 4 different areas. And in a moment, I'm going to have you come off of mute and share some responses. The activity that we're going to choose, as Victoria mentioned, challenging, the new ICF core competency, it's in the old one as well, but this is the new one under the effective communication and C7 in evoking awareness, is that we challenge the client. We challenge as a client as a way to evoke awareness or insight. Now, challenging our clients is something that's really important. But have any of us ever challenged a bit too soon or a bit too early? And we may have lost rapport. Well, I don't want to get into the answers to this activity quite yet, but we know that it is a balance. So I want you, as I prepare this activity, to start thinking about this idea of what could I gain if I challenge my client? What could I lose if I challenge my client? What could I gain if I don't challenge my client? And what could I lose if I don't challenge my client? And so I want you to reflect on this for a couple seconds. And I want, if you can go ahead and if you want to share it, if you want to share in chat, I prefer we're a small enough group to come off of mute and tell me which quadrant. You can say gain if, you can use the gain if I challenge my client. You don't have to use the full sentence. And I will place it in the quadrant that you are wanting it to be in. So just think for a moment. And so as you do that, this may be, obviously, this maybe if we're mentor coaching, this may be an activity that we would do. But I want you to imagine as if you are working with a client and they have a dilemma, a polarity that they're having to work with. And instead of having them just think and share it out loud, you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to pull up the whiteboard and you can just see what you're saying, and I'm going to just type it in and maybe ask you to clarify to make sure I'm getting it right. And then maybe I might actually change the size of some of the text or even some of the color, like we did with the other visual thinking based upon what you might be thinking. So who might want to share first? Anybody want to be brave and take a stab at one of these quadrants? Just share one thought.
Yeah, if I this is Rob.
Yeah,
If I
go for it.
if I challenge my client, I could
Yes.
gain great insight and gain just my client really getting ahead to where he or she needs to go.
Sure. Great. Okay. I'm gonna make these a bit bigger here. Are you guys all able to see that? Are we able to see that?
Yes.
Great, great. Thank you. All right. Same quadrant, maybe another quadrant.
I think if you don't challenge, so this would be the bottom right.
Bottom right, okay.
What could you lose? The conversation is not really getting to the root cause, right? You're staying at the symptom.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. All right. What else?
I'll pop in. What I could
Yeah.
lose if I challenge my client. So yeah, is trust.
Oh boy. I'm gonna have those all in cap. Oop, if I can spell it right. All in caps. Yeah. So here's a question. Is that big enough? Should I make it bigger or smaller? How important is that? Wendy, was that you?
I think it could be bigger.
Okay. All right. And I'm just gonna lean in. Is there a color? What color is trust for you?
Oh, well, in this particular case, it should be red, but in
Okay.
most cases, I'd want something nice and warm. So I'll leave that to your discretion.
Oh no, what is warm for you? I'm challenging you. I'll do it if you'd like, but what is warm for you?
Like a soft orange, I guess.
A soft orange.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. One more. And it doesn't have to be the empty quadrant.
I'm good with filling in the empty one.
Sure. Thanks, Sharon.
What you could gain if you don't challenge your client is allowing them the space to actually process something, figure it out on their own, figure things out on their own. Just be to be more self-reflective.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is an exercise. Obviously, we're not practicing our ICF core competencies here, but this was an exercise. Of course, if this was a situation that you were dealing with, and I was working with you one-on-one, we would really start to add more and more, and maybe move some around, or maybe even talk about ones that are straddling, or that are sitting on the outside, and so now as some of these responses start to build, and one thing like that they're able to do, of course, is they're able to offload some of these and just see it. And I can ask some questions about color, or maybe the type of font, or other things to allow them to visually lean into it. But also it allows them to sit back, to sit back and really gain a different perspective of what is going on, because they can see all the different polarities, all the different entities at play in this polarity. And of course, so this is just one type of activity. Another activity is brainstorming or working on a timeline or working with above the line, below the line. Some of these activities that we do, that we talk about verbally, when they are seeing it, it may bring about a different feeling, a different felt sense to what is happening. And they may be able to see what they had not seen before. Now, mind you, it may just allow the process to move quicker. It may slow it down. I'm not saying that visual thinking is for every situation and every coaching session, but sometimes for some clients, especially those that are really visually inclined, it really may help them make sense of the situation at hand. And so with that, we're going to move into a bit more of our activity. And Petra, I want you to start getting ready. Petra, as I said, has agreed to work with me and do a demo with me. This will be a one-on-one coaching session. We're going to condense it quite a bit. We're going to jump in. Apologize, I'm not going to build. I may lose some of that soft orange trust by jumping right in. We may not build too much rapport, but I hope you forgive me for that. This is an activity. It actually has an analog version. It is called the Metaphor Magic Box, and it is a box of charms that a mentor and supervisor of mine, Lily Seto, helped create, that she actually shares these boxes with her clients. If any of you have done it, it's a really fantastic and fascinating exercise where you hold on to the charms and you move them around on a mat. Well, last year we weren't able to do as much of that, and I asked her permission if I can create a virtual version of it. And with her agreement, she allowed me to create this virtual version called the Metaphor Magic Box. And the reason why this is really powerful is this gets more, a little bit more out of the strategic critical thinking and more into the metaphor and sense making of what happens when you just move around objects and meaning make with charms, as you did at the beginning of this hour. When we're doing that, we're constantly constructing our world and making images using Piaget and Papin's theoretical models of constructionism and constructivism to create our world. And when you're able to do that visually and really create a story around what you're thinking and seeing, you can make a bit more sense of it using these different charms. And we're doing that because we're always creating stories. And most stories, we want to have that beginning, middle, and ending. And it's that middle that we may get lost in. And this activity, hopefully, you will see some of that middle appear. And so we're going to get into this activity. Petra, if I can have you join in. For the rest of you, go ahead and turn off your cameras, and we will just have Petra and I with our cameras on. And if you know how to hide the cameras, you can go ahead and do that. As I do that myself. Okay. All right. Oops. Sorry, folks. Okay. So, just one moment. Okay. So Petra, are you there?
I'm here.
Wonderful. Okay. So let's see. Are you? Okay, I see you here. So I am going to I'm going to take control of your screen here. And so you should be seeing this visual activity. Are you seeing that in front of you here? The
Yeah.
virtual metaphor magic box.
Yeah.
And again, I want to make sure that you are able to engage with the mural. And so for the rest of you watching in, we're going to, Petra and I are going to spend about 20 minutes doing this activity. Full disclosure, I shared a little bit with Petra about how to engage with this. So we're going to move through the training part quickly, but I do want you to pay attention to this as you see us engage and as Petra engages with the mural. So the first things first, as I take a quick sip. For everybody, what you see in front of you, and Petra, of course, is the activity. This middle white blank square, that is Petra's mat. Just like at the beginning of the hour, and I asked you to have that square be your emotional, your felt sense space. The same thing, it's a bit bigger square. Well, I'm gonna zoom in a bit, Petra, don't worry. To see that mat is gonna represent Petra's space, her emotional space, her physical space. Everything in her exists inside of that square. And in a moment, I'm going to ask Petra to choose one of these magic boxes. Underneath all of these boxes, there are some charms. And with many charms, Petra is going to visually think and create something on that mat. I don't know what it is, and that's what Petra is going to create for herself. So Petra, I asked you to think about a question that you wanted to reflect upon in our session today. And if you can, just tell me a little bit about that question.
I'm dealing with a scenario that I haven't figured out yet what to do. So I'm gonna leave the country for Europe in September, and I have 2 passports because I have dual citizenship, and I usually utilize my German passport when I enter Germany, but I leave and exit the US, or exit and re-enter the US with my US passport. Mm-hmm. And I recently observed that my US passport expired. Mm. And so this was beginning of June. And I went online and I figured out how to renew this, and made the appointment at the post office and had everything ready, and was basically entertaining that this needs to be an expedited process of some sort. So I was prepared to pay that. And the lady at the post office goes, "Oh, you got plenty of time, just do the standard application."
Oh dear.
And for some reason I had this intuition at that moment, wow, I sure hope that that's going to work out. But I somehow gave her the benefit of the doubt, being the expert at the post office that's doing these applications probably, I don't know, a dozen a day. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, sure, let's just go with your recommendation. And about 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, I got finally a notice online that this now has entered their processing pool. We're like now in July, and to please be prepared that this will take another 12 weeks and then a minimum of another 4 weeks to be shipped back to me. Oh dear. At which point I got super upset, typical reaction, like knee-jerk, right? And I can't really figure out what to do with this. So there's a couple of options. I was just really trying to go and say, okay, working on positive psychology right now and being enrolled in this master's program, what would be the appropriate response for this situation? So that's my question.
Okay. So what would be the appropriate response? Yeah.
To this, discovery.
Okay. All right. And so what would be the appropriate response to this discovery? I trust that you know what that means to you, that when you reflect on this question, that the response to the discovery, to all these things, that this is something that's important, that you want to just reflect on for just a few moments today. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, and I'm also looking for, a way to work through this dilemma in a way where I'm not just going to tell myself rationally, blah, 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 but I'm actually going to believe that, right? So there's always this, what you can tell yourself, and then how much do you believe it?
Okay. All right, so I put these questions here. Is one of them, these two questions they're intermingled. Is that what I'm understanding right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So in a moment, I'm going to have you pick one of the charms, but I do want to just go over and engage again with everybody watching on how to engage with this mural. And so the thumb on the right is yours and the thumb on the left is mine, and the gray sticky note. I have released it. Go ahead and just click on your thumb, on that thumb one time. And there are 3 different options. That black water droplet, go ahead and click on that and change the thumb to your favorite color.
Oh,
All
it's
right.
your color now, so that's probably not good.
No, that is, hey, client is whole and resourceful. The client is always right. Okay, blue is good too. So real quick, let's go ahead and change the size, make the thumb bigger or smaller. Click on it and go to one of the corners and pull right and make it smaller. Fantastic. And then the third thing was to rotate it. So click on it again, scroll your mouse off one of the corners, and you'll see the curved arrow, and you can rotate it.
Oh. Hold on.
No worries. Go ahead and click on the thumb. I'll remind you. Go ahead and click on the thumb. Scroll your finger or mouse over one of the corners, and you don't have to hold down just click on it once and scroll over, and you'll see the curved arrows over one of the corners. Click on the curved arrow, and then.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Well,
all right. And then the last thing is just to move that thumb around. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and unclick, and everybody will see it moved. And then just go ahead and move that thumb around one time. Awesome. Okay. All right. And remember, if you want to duplicate it, just let me know. Okay. Okay. The last thing, I'm gonna summon you again. All right. So if at any point in time, when you are moving your charms around, and as I shared before, we all have mental models. These are some mental models that we are creating in our brain and seeing in our lives at any given point. We see them in business, we see targets, we see ladders, we see XYs, we see Venns, we see all of these. If at any point in time, when you are manipulating and moving your charms around, if one of these mental models were to appear to you and you'd like for me to use it, go ahead and just let me know, and I will duplicate it and move it onto the mat. And of course, if you'll notice that number 1 doesn't have anything in it, if none of these mental models, a ladder or the iceberg, if none of these come up for you, no worries at all. Just want to give you the option, okay? So why don't you go ahead and pick a number between 1 and 4, and I will open up your charms and
3.
let you play. All right, number 3. Okay. So what I'm doing right now for everybody is I'm moving Petra's charms onto her mat. And these are her charms. And so for everybody else, Petra, is that big enough for you right there?
Yep.
So right now, just spend a few moments, and remember, you can move any of them that you want. You can change the color, you can change the size, you can duplicate them. If you want to use one of these mental models, please let me know. For the rest of you, just sit back quietly, and we're just going to allow Petra to just visually think and sense make on this mat. And so here we go.
Okay, so I'm just putting on what I think is going to help me in this process, right?
Yeah, at this point, reflect on that question and just start taking any 1 or 2 or 4 or all of those charms and just start thinking. You can move them around, you can do anything you want with them, you can make them bigger or smaller, whatever it means for you. This is, as I pulled down the yellow curtain, this for the coach, we really don't want to get in the way. This is for the client to just engage quietly. And so I am going to be very quiet unless you have a question, Petra.
That kind of describes it.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, black is great. You can change the size, you can change the color, you can keep it all black, you can keep it that. I'm just reminding you of all the different things that you can do to give them different meaning potentially.
Oops.
Is that? I'm sorry. Okay.
You know, I'm an artist, so I have this, like, I would love to go in with my fingers and create my own.
Well, I will allow you to engage the next time when we meet again to draw on the image. I just let's see. I want to. I'm gonna stop share real quick and share again. I am just noticed there was a little flaw. Okay, so so thank you for leaning in, changing the colors, engaging. Just tell me for a moment, what did you create for yourself?
So this is not yet the answer to the question, but you know,
Okay.
here's me starting out, right? Being all excited.
Okay.
And it comes the big stoplight. Oops, this is not gonna get ready on time.
Okay.
So the feeling it was immediately like, you know, that loss of, okay, so now this is not in my control, right? So I feel like a little bit trapped in the situation. And then I thought, I need to figure out how to tweak this process and cut this wait time, you know, down by some weeks. And in the process, I rather want to stay calm, you know, keep calm, carry on kind of thing, and not go down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
And eventually make that jump over the hurdle and continue to fly to see my family.
Okay. So you changed some of the colors and you duplicated the hearts. Tell me more about.
Yeah, the tweaking part, you know, this is like the hope, right? There's something that can be done here. So it's green. And here are kind of the stops, right? This is what I don't want.
I see.
That's red.
So the green is hope for you.
Yeah.
And you want to remain
coming
calm.
up with a way to, you know, navigate this.
Yeah. You mentioned being an artist, you wanted to manipulate. If there was something that you could do to this, and just to explain it, but something that you can do to this that would get you closer to believe, as you shared, to work through this and believe it. What would you be seeing differently in this mat?
How do I stay in this space here? So there, you know, there's obviously anxiety around this whole thing because we're still not quite ready with the whole COVID reopening. And I don't know if any of you guys paid attention to what's going on, but it's not yet really resolved. So in Europe, there's things changing, just like here, it seems there's been some changes recently. And I'm noticing, this is one of those things too, I don't want to really notice, but I noticed that I do notice that there's an uptick in case numbers, and same in Germany. And so there's this whole thing, you know, on top of it layered. Not only am I facing a logistical challenge right now, but I'm also, you know, somewhat aware that this is maybe not even with my passport in hand, you know, the easiest trip. So there's a little bit of anxiety. So I think my whole thinking is around how do I stay calm and confident and not get lost in this, like, you know, worry and, you know, this may not work. And
so how much, give a name to that charm that I can give it, this one here that you've been, well, what are you calling that? Is that calm? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the calm tea. How much?
And this is significant for me because it's got a tea bag, right? So it's definitely, for me, that's tea, not coffee.
Right.
Because I'm like one of those espresso drinkers.
Okay. And so, yeah, how much bigger do you need to make that calm tea to feel like you're getting closer?
Yeah, this could probably be more important.
Hmm. Just sit back and what just changed for you as you changed that?
It's kind of like a airy, like soothing, fresh, color.
Yeah. So what do you already know? Well, you mentioned the positive psychology course that you're taking. What skills do you already have that will allow you to really lean into that calm blue tea that you need?
So, for example, instead of going, what an idiot at the post office, right? First thought. They're doing this every day. They give me this shitty advice. So that doesn't pay, right? So I'm trying to, forget about all of that. How do I still own this somehow, right? Don't try to start pointing fingers or, be not constructive here, or just get into this like fault and blame space.
Yeah.
Could have listened to my intuition. Why didn't I do that? So there's this whole, like you beat yourself up sometimes when you make a mistake, or you feel like you made a mistake, and you really apply the thinking that you have now to something that you didn't know then.
Sure.
And instead of applying loving kindness to self and to others in the situation, you get very judgmental and try to find flaw or fault.
So where is, for the sake of time, going to spend just a couple more moments, where is love and kindness on here for you?
Here.
Love and kindness, is that what it is? No, is that so what and what color is love and kindness?
Usually red, but I had, obviously I had this, so maybe I'll make these pink.
So how, and that, forgive me if I missed the scissors and the feather. Where's the connection between that calm
Scissors, I was like, how you cut something in half. So if I were able to just cut this wait time out, I would be super happy.
Okay.
And this was, jumping over this hurdle that I have currently with the situation.
I see.
And then the feather was really this like staying calm and light, right? That the lightness that you want to keep in navigating through this, and the lightness that lifts you over that hurdle and gets you to a comfortable space, or to some laser focused action in this case.
Right. So if you can just sit back, lean back in your chair and just take in everything that you've visually created for yourself. If you were to just give yourself a reminder as we close out this brief session of just what you want to take away from what you've created for yourself.
Definitely don't need this.
Ah, you can.
I don't want to feel trapped with this.
Okay.
That's a very uncomfortable feeling. Okay. So yeah, I definitely don't want that.
You move it wherever you'd like. You can move it off the, you can. Okay.
This has happened, so I'm kind of okay, acknowledged.
Okay.
This is important. This is something I also don't want. Just served as a reminder, right? That can happen when
Sure.
things get like crazy. And this one here, I would say question mark, because if I can actually really cut this lead time, that's, you know, not sure yet what happens. It may be a different solution. So this I would say could either be smaller. It's a possibility, but this is definitely what I want to look like, you know. Oops. Once I have this process figured out.
Okay. And so, yeah, just verbally share with me what do you see now? What is different now about what you are seeing and feeling as you complete this reflection?
Just to remind myself by really resisting this urge of getting into stuff the way we sometimes do when we don't really choose but react, that there will be there's going to be something I can do about it, right? It hasn't yet shown up, but and even if it's just to keep this cup in mind when I make the phone call to get some more details on this status, you know, to be kind to people, because you know you can't get upset and then expect good service, right? So you want to make sure that you show up in a way that inspires people to maybe see if there's a way to solve this, if that's needed, right? If I need some help here.
Yeah. Okay, Petra, I want to thank you so much for leaning into this different activity. You are free to relax, and we'll bring everybody else back in here to close up. And I want to thank you for doing that. Feel free for everybody else. Wonderful. For everybody else to go ahead and come back onto camera should you like. And we're gonna finish out our final part of our time today with your own takeaways and learning. We're gonna have you engage in this mural. I'm going to share the link with everybody. And as I do this here, hold off on clicking into that really quick just yet. So let me just tell you, everybody is going to be able to engage almost like how Petra did, maybe not as detailed, but you're going to be able to engage into this mural and do a mini virtual metaphor magic box. When you engage, it'll give you some options. Everything is optional. You don't have to put your email or type in a name. No worries at all. You can just click through that. But before you click through, it's gonna tell you to find the outline, and that is gonna be in the upper right. That is what this looks like here. Oops, as I click on here, that is what this looks like here. And you can click on the takeaways activity, and you will see many, many different charms, and you can click and move a charm into a white box. You can go ahead, and when you click on the charm, you can click on that black droplet and change the color of the charm. And then you can, if you'd like, click one time on one of those gray discs and just start typing in. And so I just want you to think about your own takeaways, think about your own, what came up for you as you were engaging with this activity in just a moment, and go ahead and click in if you'd like. After you do that, we're gonna briefly, if we have enough time, we actually may just jump right into a share out with everybody. But go ahead, and if you do get lost, remember, there are now going to be the shared screen and your mural. So note that you have two different things. You will only be able to engage in the mural. You will not be able to engage in the Zoom shared screen. So go ahead and find the outline in the upper left, and then click on the takeaways activity, and that'll zoom you in. And if you want, I'm just going to summon everybody real quick and zoom everybody in here. I'm just making it easier on everybody. And in a moment, I'm going to release everybody, and go ahead and with your mouse or trackpad, find a charm. There are 2 charms. So unfortunately, if you gotta be quick, find, oh, I'm seeing it all happen now. This is one of the things that I love, seeing all these different worker bees moving around and collaborating. And so go ahead and find a charm, click and move it into an empty white box. If you move it into the white box, great. And then go ahead and change the color, maybe change the size of the charm. And if you want to type in some thoughts, you go ahead and just click one time on a blue sticky note and just start typing. Oh, I'm realizing I might have made a mistake on some of these sticky notes. I'm going to rotate, for the person that put "this is cool," I'm going to rotate your stick. I'm going to rotate it. Go ahead and click off of that. Let me rotate this for you. Little mistake on my part. All right. Awesome. Okay, let's see. We'll take another minute or so. And we're just going to, for the sake of time, we're going to skip over the breakout and have you. And so what I do want you to think about is what you've created with your charm. And I'm gonna rotate this sticky note too. Awesome, easier than I thought. I like that. All right, we'll give everybody a few more moments. Okay, so as you finish up, go ahead and just start think about like what came up for you as you saw as you did and engaged with the facilitated activity, that was the decision matrix, or just what came up for you as you saw the very brief coaching demo that I did with Petra. And maybe how you might use it, maybe not even mural, but how you might just use visual hands-on thinking more if this incited any interest to you. And maybe this was a bit complex and you wanted a simpler version, no problem. But just what came up for you as you thought about maybe using hands-on visual thinking with your clients?
You know,
who-
I
who
was
would
just
like to go?
wondering, I can't unmute my video, but that's okay.
Okay.
I was just curious about, you know, how
Yeah.
long it took you to learn how to use the software and how long it took you, for example, to set up that wide, you know, whiteboard with all the different areas.
So the really cool thing, and who is this again?
Larry.
This is Larry. Thank you, Larry. So the great thing about Mural is once you create something once, you can make templates. I can save like this activity that you just did right now. I have it saved, and I can drop it into any mural in 2 minutes, right? So there is some prep time. Of course, this is fun for me, right? But anything you do once, you can make a template. You can do it multiple times. You can do so many different things. There may be a bit of setup. Let's say if you're doing with this a group and you have a brand new group activity, Mural itself has about 100 templates that you can choose for design thinking or any sort of creative problem solving, pretty much anything. I, of course, have made my own templates and, of course, do a little training in this for coaches to help them because I've used it so much and gotten a bit of tips and tricks on how to quicken the process a bit. But really, once you create something once, it's just about duplicating it and moving it around. And I'm really enjoying whoever is having fun with their pink aperture. I'm gonna lean in and force whoever that was to just share a bit about why they chose the pink aperture. And if you totally don't have to share if you don't want. Okay. who would like to share? Maybe just go ahead and come off of mute and share the charm that you chose. And if I'm having trouble, tell me where it is. I see so many different charms. I see so many visual thinking. Who?
This is Wendy.
Wendy, thank you so much.
Birthday cake. Well, I'm calling it a birthday cake. It's a celebratory cake.
Oh, I see it. Great. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So care to take 15, 20, 30 more seconds and share just a little bit more about your pink birthday cake and wow.
And sorry, because I don't think I can come up onto video, but
no worries.
Yeah, so it's really just this whole visual engagement and using these additional senses and the co-creation and stuff. I think it's and I do think when you have visuals, it opens up, like you're saying, you move out of your head and more into your body and all of that. So that's so it's
and so we're celebrating with a cake.
Yes, it's a nice treat. So thank you.
Wendy, that is a treat. I thank you. All right, we have time for a couple more. Anybody else want to share?
Hi, this is Rob.
Rob.
I'm on the right hand of the screen. I had two things: just the power of the visual with the Buddha, and I just think insights that come from getting out of the verbal part of our brain, but then also taking off quickly with symbols. So while you were working with Petra, I did my own PowerPoint, actually, grabbing visuals from the internet to work through a sales dilemma that I have. And it's just very helpful to have it in front of me to see this map of things and to sort of visualize the journey that I could take to the solution.
Fantastic, Rob. Thank you. That is very cool. Awesome. And I see any last thing, the green and the red, any color, any meaning behind the colors?
Yeah, Rob Greenlee. Green is my go-to color.
I know. I figured.
And I think the Buddhist, and that's.
Yeah.
But then taking off the rocket, it's got to be red. It's got to be energy. We're going to get to results. This is a way to get to faster results. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and so awesome that you just went and went for it. So let me actually just share a couple things really quickly since you can see this. So so the mural is teamed up with a company called the Noun Project. And so all of these icons exist inside of Mural through a company called and so quite literally, if I type in anything, you know, if I type in tree, you will see I'm just scrolling through and it's just going to keep giving me more and more trees. So that is one thing. Okay. And so you can actually have them just share words and just pick and say, and do that. And then also, it is also connected with Bing. And so Bing, the search engine, many of us use Google, but they have Bing. There are also about a billion pictures that we can also move in here and think with pictures as well. And so, and of course, they can upload their own images as well. I, of course, what I did as I pull back here, saved my PowerPoint slides as PNG files and then dropped them into the mural. So all that you're seeing here is actually just a PowerPoint slide deck that I created and then dropped into the mural. And so if you know how to use PowerPoint and you know how to cut and paste, you can have highly engaging presentations like this. And so let's see, I have time for one more, if anybody wants to go quickly. And if not, I will close out and give it back over to our fearless ICF Orange County leaders.
Paul, I'm wondering how you might use this with teams. And so this is clearly working with one person.
Yeah.
How could you apply this to a team?
Thank you, David. So I have an activity that is 6 different metaphor magic boxes. And so imagine you have a team. Let's say that they're all coming together to work on a project. They all come together to decide a question that they want to answer for themselves to make sure that they're coming together as a team. So imagine, if you will, everybody gets their metaphor magic box. I have lots of different activities, but everybody gets their magic box and they create their idea of what that answer is for themselves in that one box. And then imagine that there is one box in the middle that they all 6 have to take something from their own box and put it into that middle box and all work together to collaborate together to decide on what they want to see as a team. This is a really great activity to work through a lot of that angst that comes in the beginning of any teamwork, where maybe somebody maybe there's somebody who wants to share a lot, maybe there's somebody who doesn't share, but when everybody has to share visually, it flattens the work. So everybody gets a chance to share and everybody has to collaborate together. It's a really great team building activity at the beginning of some team coaching that I might do, to have them to all be seeing the same thing. Because as we know, we want to surface a lot of the invisibles when we're working in a team or a group, because so much of the problems come from the unspoken, unwritten rules. And so I will facilitate a team activity. And because they're all using images and metaphors, that lowers some of the pressure, and that also allows them to see together and think together. That's one tool that I use. But Mural is actually a many-to-many teamwork tool. I just so happen to really, because do most of my coaching individual, I really lean into the individual work. But Mural is actually great for group asynchronous and synchronous work. So great question. Thank you, David. All right, so with that, I do want to thank you all for engaging with me. I do this. This is your mural to play with. You can go ahead and keep that link open and go ahead and engage. There's activities here. Again, thank you to Candy and Lori for sharing. If you want to network with them, you can just double click on that link. You can play in the sandbox. There's instructions on how to do all these sort of things. And this is our artifact of the evening. So engage in any way. And I thank you all for playing with me this evening, morning for those of you, and for staying up late for those of you on the East Coast. So I thank you all for playing tonight.
Paul, thank you so very much. Big round of applause for Paul's great webinar. Thank you. That was really fascinating. And they've got some great comments coming in on the chat, thanking you, interesting and enjoyable, real potential, illuminating. I mean, Rhonda says it was illuminating, and I know that it was. I just can't wait to get my hands on this a little bit more. So thank you very much.
Yeah, please feel free to connect with me here. I'm happy to share a bit more about the virtual metaphor magic box and do a demo with any of you if you're interested in learning more about visual thinking. So that is my gift to anybody that has interest in learning more about the metaphor magic box.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, everybody, you know, we have some time left in tonight's meeting. And if for those who want to stay, we can do a little networking. We can pretend that we were all together, and someday we will be, and we can just say hello. But before we do that, just let me remind everybody that Technology Month is not over at ICF Orange County. We have a great webinar coming up next week on websites. And then we have our community wine and chat meeting. And afterwards, Lori Banks, say hi again, Lori, our ICF marketing director, will be talking about social media. We're putting together a chapter social media team with all our members. So please come and join us for the webinar, and for the non-members too. The non-members, we welcome all of you, as always. So please remember to sign up and join us for those events in July. In August, we will not be having any events. We will be going dark. Everyone's going to be on vacation. We'll reconvene in September. Paul, we can't thank you enough. Feel free to stay with us and talk and network. So we've got 14, 15 people on by Sharon, and we hope to see you again. But why don't we do at least one round of breakouts? I'm going to break us into small groups and just say hi and maybe talk about, you know, how you think that this really cool tool, well, I think it's cool, at least, that this tool could help your coaching, and maybe what you think is really fun about it, and maybe what is a little challenging for you about it. So just let me put you into breakout rooms. Let's yeah.
Greta, can somebody please re-enable my video? It says the host has stopped my video.
Did I? I did not. I don't remember stopping your video. Ask to start video. Is that you, Larry?
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Good
There
now.
you are. Okay. Everybody else is sorry about that.
I might have clicked that. I apologize. Sorry about that, Larry.
I know I accidentally clicked Sharon. Sorry, Sharon, when you were but anyway, you're here with us now, and that's really all that matters. So, okay, let us put into, how many breakout rooms do we want? We want maybe, what do you think? 3 breakout rooms? Yeah, let's try that. Okay, we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes.
Oh, breakout.
Is it going?
Oops.
Try it again.
Try it again. How about now? Breakout rooms in progress. Is it going? Oh, The three of us, okay, this is great. The three of us are supposed to be here.
Yeah, it sent me, but I think as a host, maybe it kicked me back out. It's
We're
okay.
supposed to be here.
I'm happy.
Okay,
I'm happy.
all right.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to share and talk, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
too.
let me ask you something. It didn't ask me for how much time we were. Oh, I'm still recording.
Oh, here.
I'm saying hello and getting to know each other. Yeah. What came up for anyone who? Oh, Rob, you're on mute.
I wanted to make sure Petra's going to call the passport people tomorrow and get her thing expedited.
Yeah.
So that was the first part of our conversation.
We didn't get all the way into action steps, Rob. I apologize.
But she's going to stay calm with the
Drink
tea.
that tea. I bet it's going to
that
be
was such a-
chamomile tea, right, Petra?
It was such a great visual thing to have.
Awesome.
Oh, you're on mute, Larry.
Karen and I had never met before. I'm new to this group, but we were on a roll and we live really like 3 miles from each other. So we're going to be getting together. We're going to be getting together immediately to help each other out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Excellent. What a nice connection. Right on.
So fabulous.
Do a lot of you guys know each other?
Pretty
Yeah.
well.
Of those
Yeah,
who are on
right
the
now,
call,
actually, yes.
of the 10 people who
But
are on
of
the
course,
call,
nobody beats Paul with his fan club that spans across the country.
Well, actually, it's wider than the country. It's a countries, multiple,
Yeah.
international.
Nice.
Thank you, Dan.
Lovely. Lovely.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
great.
mean, some of us know each other, only because we're on the board or are involved in the board. Like Sharon is just such a gift to us. And
We love
Michael is
horses.
yes, we love horses. So
No.
we would love to. I'm the membership director, so I have to put a little plug in here. If we don't know each other, we would love to get to know you better. And pretty soon, at some point, we'll be back together in person. And the first time I went to an ICF meeting, I was blown away at the warmth and welcoming of this group. And I was like, got my spot. And here I am on the board. Who knew?
Wow.
That's what happens.
Yeah. So if we don't know you yet or you don't know us, let's make that happen.
Sounds great. Well, listen, I have to say my daughter is moving to Los Angeles because her boyfriend's going to University of Southern California for grad school.
There we go.
So I said, what is it? Go Trojans, right? So I know we'll be visiting, and my wife suspects once she lives in California, she's not going to ever want to come back to Boston for the winters. So you may be seeing me a little more than just tonight.
We'll love it.
Rob, we'll have you move to like Redondo, like right on the cusp of LA and Orange County. So you can go to both meetings. So.
There you go. I love that, Paul. We don't want to hog him,
Yeah, and for those that won't be able to be with us, when we go back to live chapter meetings, just keep attending the webinars. Yeah. Just want to keep seeing you.
Yeah, we'll still have a number of we do our webinars on Tuesdays. So those at least 2 Tuesdays a month. And so we have a full slate of those planned throughout the rest of this year. And that's a great way to connect because those will always be on webinars. We're not doing the Tuesdays live. It's just the Thursdays that'll be going in person. So it would be great. And Rob, I went to school in Massachusetts, and two of us in these little squares have children that are going to school in Boston or outside of Boston.
All right, so I'll see you over here. And
yes,
you there. That's fantastic. Well, the one thing about the winter, you do have a sense of the seasons, and some people I know from California that came to school here say they love it because they love to ski and they love all that kind of stuff too. So we'll see.
My kids are both now off to college in about a month, and we're selling our house to take advantage of this market. And we're going to move somewhere. We just don't know where. We literally don't know where we're going to go. We're going to stay here for a while you know, because my kids want to come home from college and all that, but we're going to go somewhere. I have an opportunity maybe to go to Zurich, and I would take that one up
Wow.
in a second,
Cool.
but otherwise it'll be somewhere else in the US. And I'm starting to think about the Northeast, actually. I actually want the seasons again. I lived in Maryland and New Jersey for many years. So
Mhm.
Well, Larry, if you end up in Zurich, we'd all be happy to come visit.
well, I was telling Karen, I created and lead by far the world's largest club of large company chief human resource officers. And I do it I work for Gallup, but I created it, started creating. So I have 800 members around the world, kind of all the big companies of the world. And what I was doing is traveling all over the world doing these meetings. And of course, I love to do that. My whole career has been global travel. So the pandemic's been super hard on me because it's like all I know. It's like my oxygen. So we're starting to do in-person meetings again here in the US. I've got a bunch scheduled, like 2-day meetings throughout the rest of the year. But I'm dying to get some going in Europe and also over in Asia, but that's not going to be till next year.
Mm. Fun. Sounds like a fun career. Yeah. We'll be
I've always
careful.
had a good, fun global career. I ran kind of Asia for the company twice, and I was a chief marketing officer for a long time.
Mhm.
But running around the world doing small meetings with the world's largest chief human resource officers, which are really smart people, and by the way, generally like coaches, very warm people. You don't typically get to that job if you don't have that. You know, it's pretty, and then doing dinners and all, it's a pretty fun life, you know, and you're doing meetings in Copenhagen and Amsterdam and Munich and, you know.
I told Larry I just
pretty
couldn't
fun.
believe that I couldn't believe that Gallup's been paying him for 29 years to do this.
Well, this is the last 4. So this is my newest venture, but
I mean, really.
oh, it's I have a lot of the CHROs that are like, Larry, whenever you decide to stop doing this, I'm going to quit my job and get yours.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And see what happens is the members host the meetings and they pick up all the costs. And so, you know, that part's great.
Nice. How about you,
got it made,
David?
Larry.
How about you, David? When is there any chance of meeting you in person sometime soon?
The likelihood of me going down to California is not very high. I tend to spend a lot of, if I'm not in Vancouver, I'm more likely to be in Asia. I spend quite a bit of time in Vietnam. I jump in and out of Hong Kong there, but it's yeah, I'm not going south of the border. Yeah.
Not anytime soon.
You know, I might go down to Seattle, but it's down to California it's a much longer trip. If we're driving, I guess I could fly down.
Yeah. Well, we would always welcome you. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Well, hey, everybody, what should we do? Should we call it a night? Anyone who want to say anything else or any more comments?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Yeah, you know, Paul, the first time I heard of MURAL was in early pandemic. I was doing one of my meetings virtually, and the then CHRO of IBM, who retired and now there's a new one, she was telling a bunch of technology CHROs, hey, we had an executive retreat, you know, it was originally going to be in person, and instead of calling it off, we used this product called MURAL.
Yeah.
And it was a 2-day meeting. And she said that she felt like it was almost better than if they were in person. The way it ended up working for them over 2 days. And I went, I got to learn about this MURAL thing. But today was the first time I saw, you know, somebody demo it.
Yeah, so
I use it in teaching, and it's students are going, why haven't we heard about this before? And I think under some circumstances, you can actually do more than if you're in person with it. Yeah,
that's what she said.
So what happens is if you have many people, you create a sandbox. So everybody gets their sandbox, and we call it that because you get to play and you get to do whatever you want. And then there'll be communal sandboxes where you bring your toys or whatever you've created into the group area. And so when you have something like that, and that's why I refer to it as an infographic. I love this idea of, you know, we get so much more when we see an infographic, you know, pictures and words, when you can create that with many people over the course of time. And like I said, because there is the synchronous work, like, you know, when everybody is together, but then you can also do the asynchronous work because anybody can log in to the MURAL and work in their sandbox at any time.
That's
right?
really cool. I
And
get
that's
that.
what makes it so dynamic, especially
Hey,
for
Paul?
team building. I mean, for design thinking and any sort of teams. Yeah.
Paul, is it kind of like a Zoom thing where you pay for a year or something like that?
It's almost exactly like Zoom. It is for an individual user. It's going to be about $12 a month, but then you can create like ICF Orange County can create a workspace and have everybody on the board use it, because you can have many people, and they're giving it away to teachers. Mural got 2 rounds of funding in 2020, totaling $200 million. So that's quite a bit of funding, and they're doing a lot of things.
They integrate with Microsoft, but Microsoft's got their own product called Whiteboard, right?
Right. So that's last year changed so much, and I mean, you'll see so much collaboration is because they realize all these companies, all the Fortune 100, they know, yeah, their employees are coming in to work, but they're not coming back full time. I mean, many of them aren't. And so how do we work together like this? And so, of course, Microsoft has their own, just came out with their own. But yes, Mural integrates with Teams.
Have you or David, you ever used that Whiteboard product, or you just use Mural?
I've used the Whiteboard. It is for quick things, it works. But to me, once you learn Mural, and nothing beats it, because you can do, like, I can make it private, so that, let's say we were all working together, none of you would be able to see any of each other's work but me. I can go into private mode. I can make timers. I can do anonymous voting. I can do so many different things. I mean, it's like all of us when we first learned Excel, and we're like, oh, I know Excel. And then somebody who really knows Excel showed you the 7 billion other things that you could do with it. I showed you literally 1/10 of 1% of Mural tonight. And there are so many other applications. So I like it, but to answer your question, I mean, any sort of visual thinking, engaging in Whiteboard, I think is a great tool for coaching or any sort of collaborative work.
Yeah. Another a competitor is Miro. Very similar to Mural.
MIRO.
MIRO.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been bouncing with Creatific. We've been bouncing between both of them, trying to figure out which one's better. And I think we're leaning towards Miro. But most 95% of it's very similar. Each has a few things where they're a little bit different from the other. But you can get Miro, you can get for free. There is a free version. Yeah. And then if you're working for team, it's $8. So the pricing is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's all the other.
We all know Microsoft will be buying Mural pretty soon.
You know what? I've been really surprised that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Mural may not have wanted to be bought by it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that they tried and Mural said no. So we'll see how that works out as we know. But yeah, it's a very collaboration, especially like this I mean, I think you're seeing a lot of it. You're going to see more and more and more. There's a lot of different competitors.
And it's great. It's great for coaching. It gives you a whole new, it's another aspect that means you can do coaching all over the world,
Yeah.
You don't ever have to be in person. I mean, you always want to be in person, but you don't have to,
Yeah. There's, I mean, some people, sorry to dominate this, but there's some people, they don't want to be on video, right? And, they want to have a phone session, which I enjoy. I like phone sessions actually a bit more than video sessions, but sometimes I'll have a phone session and we'll just be looking at the whiteboard together and creating in that way. And so it's just more senses, more sense making. And to me, just engaging more of them and us.
Perfect.
I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Petra, you're still on mute.
when you have a subscription, Paul, how would you learn like the details and the, you know, to really work this more to its capacity? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so first off, if you go get Mural, you get a month for free, right? They have an entire training community. They have a bunch of things. I, of course, do some Mural training for coaches, but which you'll see a button on the Mural to click if you want to learn more about that. But you can learn everything inside Mural. They have a whole training community. It is very extensive. So, and you just you can't mess it up because you just keep, you know, just try it and hit the undo button. Sorry, Karen.
Or maybe, Paul, if there are people that are interested at ICF Orange County, would you do a group training for us? And maybe we'll get a special discounted rate. No.
Be happy to.
Ooh, let me know. Let me know.
Okay.
There may be a way to find out in the Mural, so, you know, just.
Yeah, no selling here. Sorry, folks.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. I'm sorry.
I did it, so I apologize.
No. That was my bad.
No, Karen, please don't apologize, because when we went to breakout rooms, this is the very same thing I asked Paul, and I said, oh no, I'm not supposed to ask. Yeah, I did the same thing. I did the same thing.
Well, all right.
Well,
It's the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
A sign of a good presentation when people are like, tell us more.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah, thank you. Well, everyone, I hope you have a great evening. Thanks for staying on the line. It's so good to get to know you all a little bit better. And Paul, thank you again, really.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for
We
playing.
hope you have
Thanks,
a
ICF
fabulous
Orange County.
rest of the week, and we'll see you for the rest of Technology Month.
Woohoo!
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, Michael, for your help. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Petra,
Yeah.
thanks for participating.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.